It's Diddy.
All right, so as you can tell from Rob's thing, we're gonna talk about Diddy, right?
Yeah,
It's your boy.
that's not my boy.
yeah,
Maybe in the '90s when he came out all those hits and stuff.
That was like one of my first albums I bought.
Yeah.
Dude, that album, the Family, right? What is it? The first album he had,
Dad in the Family. Yeah.
That was like that. Everybody had to hit that one.
Oh man,
you know?
that was good.
Yeah.
But now it's gonna be canceled.
It's tough because he had so many artists that came under him, or this band and stuff like that. Artists
that he used.
Yeah, you hear some of the contracts that he came out with for them and stuff, screwing them over. It's like, man, you
know, he was like, that's the thing with him and with Notorious, right?
Mhm.
He really screwed him over, or like
Did he?
He had all the rights to all of his like the music stuff, and that's why like before he died, he's leaving Diddy, right? He had a contract set up that he was going to jump on, so he was going to leave Diddy, right? Because dude, Diddy was and Diddy would go to the studio just to watch him, because anything he wrote for like Junior Mafia or something like that, like he'd be like he needed Biggie to say that, you know, I wrote it, because then Diddy would own it, right? But what Big was doing later on in his life was that he's crediting his daughter with the writings. So it would go under his daughter's name, because the Locks, you know, the group The Locks, some of the stuff's owned by his son, Diddy's son. His son wasn't even born, or just born at that time. Yeah.
So, did people? I mean, were these stories that came out before, or this all since?
I think everybody knew that there's a problem with Diddy with contracts and stuff like that, but I think there's more than just contracts that we're just now finding out.
Now it's like,
right? But I think it was because like you just look at some of the trailers, like why does the artist only do like one album and then they leave? Like every artist he has kind of had that part, like Black Rob.
Yeah, Danny Kane, you had the band, like
Well, it's not, and then and you look at like Mace, right? And then he turns to God. Loon had one album, then he turned to God, right? Like they turned. There's a reason
when you see the devil, you turn to God.
There you go. Yeah.
Dang,
when you see the devil, you really believe God, then, right?
Yeah.
You believe there's a God, then, right? And then that. I mean, those are some things that, you know, kind of like, well, there are signs of stuff that happen, but and there's been talk about this because there's been people talking about it, but they just haven't been like mainstream, or hasn't gone out mainstream for a while now. And there's been, I guess, if you lived in New York or in Miami, those people will say there's been rumors for a while floating around on that stuff.
Wendy Williams a long time ago. Early interviews tried to talk about Diddy and stuff like that, and he squashed that.
Really?
Basically saying you're about to get fired if you come out with this information.
She had a picture of like a guy kissing him, or him on a boat with his pants, something like that she was trying to show, or something like that, I think. But this is where it goes back to where I think kind of just ties up, especially where he's getting squeezed now. Well, that's probably not a good word to use. He's getting shaken down. That's not a good word either. He's getting, looked at now for this. Is that it's funny because the Cassie lawsuit was going on, I think, right? But then I felt like the pressure and everything's been coming out started happening after
Epstein.
Epstein thing happened too, but Chief D, right? That got arrested in Las Vegas for Tupac's murder, right?
Oh yeah.
And finally, right? Because everyone's saying he's been the guy, or he's been in the car with his nephew's the one that got beat up by him at the Vegas fight. Tupac is either one of them or a guy named Big Dre in the car, right? They're saying, right? But he was one that's like the shot caller that was making the hit, and then he was on like Diddy's payroll, where at that time there were he's giving like $1,000 for every death row chain they snatch, and he had a bounty out on Tupac and Suge Knight's.
Diddy was doing all that?
Yeah.
What's weird is like my perception of Diddy growing up, it was like, this is the guy that isn't a serious rapper that does a bunch of the samples, and then like Biggie's the legit rapper.
Yeah, hype man, basically what it was.
Yeah, he was kind of like the hype man.
No,
he was like the dancer to start with and everything.
You're right. That's exactly what he was.
But he's like the Suge Knight behind the curtain character.
So I was gonna say you're right. That's what he was. But he had that Suge Knight kind of personality that you didn't think he probably had, right? And
that's so weird, dude.
Yeah. So that's what I say. He did a lot of that shady stuff, and then what I'm saying is that so. Keefe D, gets arrested now, right? Finally, after all these years. He's about to go down for murder. You don't think he's flipping on Diddy and putting this stuff on Diddy? Maybe there's some evidence at his house apparently that they seized. Maybe it's all pointed at Diddy. So now they're bringing Diddy in, and Diddy getting looked at because Las Vegas wants to solve, I think, this Tupac murder because they've been looked at for so long.
They're saying
years,
it's Diddy that made the contract on, or
well, that's what's been out there for a while. That these have been out there. And I think KVD even mentioned it on some stuff that this is how much they were paying for this XX, right? And then so I feel like they got something here, and that points with Diddy bringing him in, and now I think what happened was Diddy's like, I'm not going down for this. And he's starting to, and then the people who are the higher ups that knows that Diddy has stuff on him are now trying to get him arrested and get him out, and throwing everything out there to get him out of there because they're scared of that, and that's why everybody thought he was flying out of town. Remember, like that, they're like, oh, he's running. His airplane left, right? I think what he did was trying to be smart, where he's like, I'm gonna get all of the evidence that I really need, not all he can't take all the evidence, but what he really needs for the people he wants, I'm gonna get that out of country right now. And that's why he flew on that airplane before he got arrested, right? And I feel like it comes back to that, him getting arrested for that, where all this is now coming out.
Interesting, man. The things, all that stuff, for whatever reason, I'm just like, okay, all that stuff's just gonna turn the crank and whatever happened, you know what I mean? Like, what always comes to my mind? I'm like, did J-Lo know what was going on? Remember they were like,
it was there.
Were they like married or dating?
No, she knows. Like, I think she knows. She's just as guilty. Like I would say in that party.
So then by association, right? I just start thinking, okay, not even about Diddy, but it's like, what is the reality of all the? What do people? What the hell is going on? Like what?
So for
J-Lo, come on,
Well, the thing is that Diddy.
I love J-Lo.
So the thing you got to realize is that Diddy just didn't come in and be like, "Hey, I'm this guy." He was also in with the Clive Davis and those guys who started this kind of.
But these parties were like the house and stuff like that, and and it's not like J-Lo's going to bed at 8:30 or something. No. I mean, I don't know enough.
There's still those parties in LA right now. They have mansions dedicated to these sex parties where like you'd go in there and you see celebrities in masks and they have different floors and stuff like that. Like that stuff happens too.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I mean that and again they do some weird shit, right? that they want to do, but no. But going back to even with the Tupac thing is like the one thing I gotta find out the lineup of when this happened, but I know there's one picture of Tupac with Diddy actually at a at a party. I think that's like the only picture really, right? That they had, and Keefe D, the guy who got arrested for it, was on Art of Dialogue, or I don't think it was Vlad. He was Art of Dialogue, and he was talking about that party and talking about how Tupac was at that party, and then he was like, man, there was some weird shit going on at that party. It's like the weird shit that's going on, like that the stuff like the freak out, like that stuff, and Diddy's leading that party, right? Whatever. And I feel like I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like Tupac kind of saw what Diddy was doing. I think he didn't like that. I think that's one of the reasons that Tupac didn't like Diddy at all. It wasn't just the whole what happened down in New York. I think he saw what he was also about, right? And then I feel like that was also one of the reasons he wanted. That's why Death Row was expanding to the East Coast, and they were trying to push Diddy out as well, right? Out of music.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they just come out back then? I mean, it didn't seem like they were pulling punches in the rival, in the East Coast West Coast beef. Like, why wouldn't they just come? So
you got to remember that he came out when he was really getting hot on the stuff. He got out of jail in September or something, or before September, and then he died that. Other September, like 1 year, or like a year later or whatever, right? But then he was working on albums, and then Little on Hit 'Em Up just came out, and then he died. So it was just really the start of that disc, like that Hit 'Em Up just came out, and Around the Corner is, and then there's an interview that's still out there that apparently, what's her name, Martinez, Angie Martinez did with Tupac, where he just airs Diddy out, airs Jay-Z out about who they are and what they are, and it's like he really goes at it. Like it's one that like Diddy and Jay-Z had to go down to Angie Martinez, but like you can't play this shit. Like, and she still supposedly has this tape.
Yeah,
right.
The one
of like what he's saying, and I think on that stuff you're hearing some of the stuff that he saw probably, and then I think the other thing with Jay-Z is that he's allegedly like an FBI informant too as well. Like Jay-Z, like back then what he does, and if you look at Jay-Z's kind of his track record, he eliminates competition before I don't think he's gonna go straight to head-to-head competition. He usually tries to eliminate it. And they're saying what he was doing was he was informing on some of his competition to get them arrested and out of the game, so he can kind of take over. And that's not even if you looked at like whenever he became the Def Jam, what do you call it, president, and he shelved DMX because DMX was kicking his ass when they were in the prime, and he shelved DMX so he can go on his run. So he wouldn't let So there's stuff that he's done, stuff like that. And it's funny because that also goes over to Beyonce, right? What Beyonce did to Carrie Hilson, right? It's like the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, just took her look, took her.
No, not even took her look, like iced her out,
killed her music,
wouldn't let her because Carrie Hilson was supposed to. I think it started like she was supposed to be on Love in the Club Part 2, right?
She was a ghostwriter for a long time.
She was the ghostwriter, and she was supposed to sing that Love in the Club Part 2, but it went to Beyonce, and then she said something, and then basically Beyonce iced her out of the business, right? And Sierra, in turn, almost got kind of iced out as well because she was cool, Carrie Hilson. Yeah.
Okay, on a related note, maybe you guys know more about this than I do because I just heard it the other day. Is Drake suing Kendrick Lamar for calling him a pedophile? Did you hear that?
He's suing the record company.
I think he's suing Kendrick personally. I think he's suing the record company like that did it, which is he's under too, right?
Yeah, I think originally he was selling Spotify for falsifying streams for the Not Like Us record, and then he came out with a second lawsuit. I think the UMG one, going after the record company for
and now he's suing. I think
out there
for the pedophile
pedophile. Yeah. And then basically he's also I think now suing. I don't know, maybe the company again, Penny that they let on YouTube people use that song instead of using copyright on them, and just let them because you're not supposed to play songs that's copyrighted on YouTube, right? So if you make a comment or something and the song's playing or whatever, like it gets taken down, you get demonetized and stuff on it. But the record company let people talk about it and play the music, so they're kind of egging it on, right?
Because I'm wondering, this came up because people were like, okay, is this just being weak or whatever? But I was just thinking in an era of like Diddy and all these stuff that's coming out, I was like, I guess in a way, if you're Drake, and I'm a Kendrick guy, I like Kendrick, but if somebody calls you a pedophile in public, don't you kind of like have to sue to say like, no, I'm not a pedophile, and you can't be that liable? Otherwise, if you don't, isn't it? It's almost like, okay,
I think there's also bigger stuff. There's also bigger stuff at play. I do think about the contract he wants now and how much he really wants from the record company and how much he's kind of owed, and I think he wants out of his contract. So I think he's trying to force the suing stuff to also get out of his contract. Yeah.
One person I'm really curious to hear about is Foxworth Bentley.
Oh, well, that's
Diddy's old number 2 dude that used to have the umbrella. You know what I mean?
He knows.
He knows a lot of things. He's been silent.
He's
paid whole time.
He probably paid him real good. Like, you ain't saying shit. You're locked up here or whatever like that.
Yeah.
But
I picked out his clothes, bro. Did he?
Yeah. Man,
I just remember seeing like old video clips of like Diddy doing interviews and people like Fabulous. I was a huge Fabulous fan growing up.
Fabulous did not like him touching him.
Yeah, I remember watching a video. Like Diddy was like, "How come you didn't come to my parties anymore?" and stuff like that. And he's like, "Man, we partying right here." And there was like he was trying to like hold on and film and stuff like that.
He said in his words, if I remember the exact words, he's like, "Why are we going to parties?" He's like, "No, we're partying over here." And he grabs and goes, "No, but why don't we like really party?"
Yeah.
And then you could see he was kind of like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Fabulous was like, "Yeah." He knew what it was. I mean, there's a story that Gene, his bodyguard Gene D's been talking about how he went to the sex shop and he had to go with him, right? And then he grabbed a bunch of stuff in a brown bag, which ended up being dildos later. But he took him into a room with him and another famous rapper and some girls, and then they were doing their thing, and he was bodyguard the door, and that other famous rappers and their cousin busts down, and he's like, "Where's this guy at? Where's he at?" And then like the Diddy busts out with the other rapper, like just with towels on or whatever, and then it ended up being Ja Rule was the other rapper, right? And then Ja Rule, and then the cousin, I was about to go in there, and Ja Rule like, "Dude, you do not want to go in there, dude." It's like,
oh my
yeah.
So. The debauchery going on behind closed doors. I can't imagine.
It's weird though. Like it's weird that all these celebrities, they have a public image to protect. Why it just seems so reckless to be even in that space if you know that stuff's going down. What's the incentive to even why? Because they can all create whatever environment they want in the privacy of their own home. They don't need to go enter a Diddy
I think
space
it's networking too. It's like what opportunities you're at a part to meet Clyde Davis, the owner of a record company, to be able to network and do those things. So you almost have to be present at those parties, whether you're participating or not. You have to be present at those parties to be able to do that.
And also a lot of times what they do is they need to get you in a compromising position to have something on you.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's kind of what they do, where they kind of force you into it by putting you in some kind of vice.
That's so sad. That's dark, bro.
Yeah,
like, especially your up and coming artist, you're trying to like you ain't come from nothing, and then it's like, I guess it's just what you got to do. It's not only rationalizing with yourself.
But it's not only that. It's like then you find out the contracts that they signed were horrible.
Yeah.
And then they did all that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you got, because Diddy,
sell your soul.
Usher had Bieber, under his wing and stuff. So how much did Usher see, and how much did he push away? How much did he shield Bieber from some of that stuff too?
I know he had that weekend with Diddy that changed him. I think Bieber, unfortunately.
With the Panda Eyes that you're talking about.
I don't know the Panda Eyes, but it's whenever he's like, I got 24 hours with Bieber. He's staying with me. He wants this Lamborghini.
Or those clips.
Yeah.
It's just like you see some of those clips, you're just like
the bodyguard thing.
You don't know they're joking, but at the same time, now you hear some of those back. It's like, man, I don't think he was really joking.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of that stuff.
No, and then that's. Yeah, I mean, like we were just talking about, some of the stuff on the song, he's kind of telling you what he's doing, right? Like, take that,
Can't stop,
won't stop. But no, because I feel like Usher, like one of the bodyguards alleges that there was a boy that had to go to the emergency room, and that boy was Usher, right? Is what he's saying, when Usher was younger.
That's
and that's so some of those things, bro. Like
it's also for me then is also like the parents of these people like letting you go with Diddy and stuff like that, like.
It's tough, especially when it comes to dealing with the kids and everything. And at the same time, it's like there's some people that went to those parties and voluntarily did all that stuff, but now all this stuff is coming out. They're kind of stepping away and moving away from the limelight, so they're not getting caught up in the crossfire or being involved or being at those parties. Like you have videos of Ashton Kutcher having pictures of him at the all-white parties and stuff, and other celebrities, and you haven't heard anything from him.
The Marlon Wayans, they talked about Marlon Wayans. Shannon Sharp did, right?
He's like, I came over, I was at the parties, but I leave early. He's like, after I think 12 or 1 p.m.
No, he was saying that he goes, I don't know when they do these parties. He goes, I was there till 2 o'clock. And he goes, when I leave, is that the cue? All right, guys, he's gone.
Dim the lights.
It's like So I mean, then it's kind of the whole like LeBron James, ain't nothing like a Diddy party. And then it's kind of like
so many celebrities. And it could be honestly like they only came for the parties. They didn't do any of the extra stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to dealing with the kids and they have no choice and they're being forced to do these things just to make it as an artist, that's where it's like, man, that's
even
crazy.
Just that exploitation in general. I mean, any kind of abuse of power, or just like the power dynamics, and then I mean, those are weird. And then imagine, and then there's drugs thrown in, and then take this, and then all of a sudden, that's just
or sorry, like I said, even like these guys. Let's just say they're not minors, but they're like 18 or 19 or 20. They're still young.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you imagine being a kid going there and saying, "Oh, this is Diddy." People I see on TV take this, sure. Like,
and like, let's say you're not into drugs or whatever, but then they get you in some kind of a picture or to put you in some compromised thing. Like, hey, we got this on you, and then you get depressed, and they have everything on you. You do what they want to do, and then you start taking drugs just to numb yourself, and you're down a spiral, right? It's
yeah.
Like,
and it's one of those is like, okay, you're gonna have this party. You're all adults, consenting adults. Have fun at it, but when you start like drugging people or recording them without their knowledge,
unfortunately,
some of these stuff.
Unfortunately, that's the thing. Some of these people they get off on that.
Yeah,
like that's their thing. It's not about consensual. They don't want consensual. That's doesn't get them off.
Yeah,
it's about them not wanting it or them being knocked out. Like some like Darren Sharper or the football player, right?
Yeah,
the safety. Like he had the same thing. Like he did the Bill Cosby, right? It's allegedly, I guess. I should allege. I don't get sued by anybody here.
So many great artists that are doing stuff behind the scenes and they just ruin their whole career and their image because of it.
Yeah, it's to the point now for me. Like, I can't say I like any actor, rapper, or singer or anything anymore because, like, my wife always be like, "Hey, isn't that your boy?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what he does behind the screen. I like it. It's like I like his music. That's it. Yeah. I don't know him as a person. I don't really care. It's like." It's like the whole thing now. It's kind of like you said, like you were saying earlier. It's like I wonder what music's gonna be canceled on the catalog this year, right? Can't listen to this anymore. It's like
I mean, dang, especially like once you associate it with that,
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to, you can't shake that. You know?
No, exactly. And then that's the thing, like, especially like we go back to Drake, it's like, even though like maybe there's not evidence of him being a pedophile, but it's like everybody's kind of like, hey, singing Pete pedophile, singing like calling him pedophile. That's gotta, that's gotta suck.
Yeah,
to, like,
minor. Everyone knows that one, that 2 lines. Just sing that all the time. It's like, fuck.
Then you see like you see, and then Drake seeing like his friends singing the song. Yeah, that's even worse. Like LeBron's going singing it, and you're like, bro, really? It's like,
oh man,
I
didn't see that.
Well, allegedly, supposedly, LeBron and Drake used to hang out in Canada a lot, and used to do a lot of 2 ways. You know, parties of like signing NDAs, bringing models over and stuff. And so, kind of the idea is like, you know, a long time ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
LeBron
that
was cheating on his current wife.
With
all these people, and
that's
that stuff leaking out.
Well, that's the thing, because the alleged thing with LeBron allegedly is about he has like snow bunnies, they call them, right, in like every location, right?
Oh, really?
And basically like he's all like really secured in the thing, and they come in, come out, and it's done. And they're saying like Drake knows a lot about the stuff, and then Drake's pretty much hinting at like he might release some stuff. Like, and I think that's why didn't LeBron just recently had to take time away from the team and stuff like that. They're saying like, yeah. So I mean, there's stuff like they're saying like DJ Academics. I don't know, he's kind of crazy, but he's saying like Drake's ready to crash out on this. Like he's gonna crash like onto this topic. I'm like, damn, if he gets that can get really messy, right? If he just starts leaking that stuff out.
Because I'm sure he knows some things, just being in the industry and seeing some things. But
he definitely got dirt on a lot of people, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It's a sensitive topic for sure. A lot of stuff that you hear about, you don't know about, and discussing things that you hear about, you're just like, man, I just can't believe it.
I guess to say this is all allegedly, guys. We're not saying.
We don't know yet. Nothing's official, but you know, like I said, you hear a lot of things.
So Diddy's the Epstein role essentially. And then you got the Epstein, and then before, who was it that was in Hollywood? He was like a producer or something. Like that.
What's his name? I see his face.
Weinstein.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
It just feels like it's like systemic around all entertainment, power positions. This is like, it's bizarre that that's a tool for power grabs and manipulation and stuff in that way, and that it's like such a effective tactic that it like transcends all these different. It's not just, in my mind I was thinking like, oh, it's an entertainment. It's like, oh, and finance and you know, and politics and all these things. Like how is that? Like I can't imagine. Can you imagine like in our realm if there was like a homie that was like, oh, I got you. You know what I mean? It's like how does that even I can't fathom how that exists. You know what I mean?
Well, my thing is like I feel like the way a lot of that exists is blackmail, right? Having blackmail on people. That's the only way to secure yourself on the people. Like Diddy has that on a lot. That's why he's like you're saying. How can you operate like that, right? If you know he has what I feel like that goes back to he just has the right people. You know, just like Epstein. He had the same thing, right?
A lot of dirt.
It's just like, man. I mean, just how we relate to all of that, like how people relate to sex and power and everything. It just feels like it's such a symptom of something so sick and twisted, and for that symptom to pop up in all these different areas in that way must be there is like a source that is germinating you know, into all of that. That's just it makes me wonder. I mean, then we were talking about those things with the dudes in the basement with the low measurement, and it's like that manifests that way there, and you know, just in each sphere. And then even makes me wonder about the, you know, hookup culture and online, you know, just the way that is. It's just it just must be manifesting at every realm, and it's just once you get to those that stratosphere of you have money, power, there's all the things. It's just like you push the boundary for a thrill.
So that's where I go. But I think that's the thing. I think some of these people that what's hard to comprehend to everybody else, like it just generally like us average people, is just having so much excess. Like access and excess, both, right? Having so much where like that doesn't get you off.
There's no thrill. There's just boring.
That's what I'm saying. And then you're like, but
I'm like, how? You got all that money.
It's that hungry ghost thing, and then you
that's what I'm saying. It's the ghost thing. Yeah. Because a lot of people that make it to the top sometimes they have that ghost because they did something to get up there, maybe, right? That they don't. They need something.
Oh man, how many folks do you hear where they're like, Did you guys watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary?
I haven't yet heard it was good.
Not yet.
Well, and one of the things he said was like right after he won that first Super Bowl, he was like, "Okay, so this is it."
Yeah.
You know, and I think that there must be like a lot of that. Oh, I'm a millionaire now. I'm on.
Yeah.
You know, I did everything that I could have ever imagined. Like, this is it. How do I feel that? Especially because you have that instant drive to be successful. Like it's like that is out of balance already.
Yeah.
To be, I mean, that's like addiction.
Yeah.
To have, you know, when we celebrate like the Mamba mentality and all that stuff. Is that healthy? Like, is that, you know what I mean? We're like, you got Mamba mentality. It's like, just fuck everybody.
Yeah.
And like completely like self-hate until you're successful and yell at everybody else.
I mean, I think a good thing about that, Kobe realized after a while, like his teammates didn't like playing for him. And he had to change his own mindset and
you see the
grow with his teammates.
Yeah, the redeem. Do you see the redeem train? Yeah, with the. Yeah.
So that's the thing, because if you look at
that was awesome to see that insight.
Yeah, because that's what they're saying. Like, I was watching the PBD podcast. He's interviewing Scottie Pippen, and that's one thing that PBD brought up that you saw with Kobe. Like, he took kind of maybe more of the Jordan route the first couple of years with Shaq and everybody. Didn't hang out with his teammates even after that, and he was just away from everybody. And then the second go around in 3P when Powell came there, he like actually became like best friends with Powell, like family like that. And you saw a different side of Kobe kind of come out.
I loved Kobe post retirement.
Yeah, he was awesome. Like, interviews to actually get to know him and stuff, because you don't realize that because you just see that Mamba mentality, super strict regimen, all that stuff.
Yeah, you turned into like a wise dude.
Yeah, he was investing crazy, like really good too. Some stuff early on. I mean, that's the other thing, man. They have access to so many nice things to invest in.
Yeah, but gone too early, man. Can't imagine how much influence he would have, especially in basketball, just because of who he was.
Yeah,
and women's basketball right now. I mean, I know
that's the thing.
Responsible for a lot of the come up.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Especially with women's basketball, because his daughter also, who passed away, she was, I think, a pretty good basketball player too. And then she was just like him, probably with Caitlin Clark, how he would have been. Because who's the girl? He was pretty close with Sabrina, right? The girl from Liberty that went to the Ducks. She was the Ducks and she's Liberty.
Yeah,
he was close to her, so he probably would have been close to everybody else. Like Caitlin's, I think, with Nike as well, right? Would have been. Yeah, that would have been interesting to see. But how do we get to Kobe, man?
I don't know.
Diddy.
It's a lot more wholesome than Diddy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have his troubles, but nowhere near Diddy. Comes with that stuff. But he admitted it, at least. So, you know.
That's right. Oh, man, I forgot about those Chappelle skits.
Yeah.
Kobe. Yeah, I forgot about that, man. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Man. But anyways, Diddy thing. It's we'll see how it wraps. The thing I was gonna say, that the update though, that I think recently, I didn't click on it or look at it, but I think they're saying on, I think Charlamagne the God, and they were saying that prisoners are calling them and telling him Diddy showed the video with him and Cassie, and then him and with other celebrities, and they were naming some of the celebrities to Charlamagne and them, and basically they were saying everything was consensual, like everybody was. And then for me, I was like, the celebrity parts, I think we all know, probably was consensual. They probably were just freaking off. So that part wasn't whatever. But the Cassie thing would be the bigger one out of that. No, my thing is like, I don't know how real that is. Again, I didn't click on it to see whatever. But it's like, is he really gonna let prisoners really saying? They can just tell people the names right now. Then they could be like, hey guys, this is the names. Kind of leaked or whatever. But the thing is that the Busby, I think that's a lawyer. I think that's going after him, right? And he's one that's going after Jay-Z now. Like he seems like he's locked and loaded and has some stuff. So some of these, and I think they're gonna see a lot more bigger names come out here in like a little bit. So
because his trial is, I think, middle of this year, I want to say, or maybe next year.
Really?
Yeah, but that could be pushed out, years and years, for all we know.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see who else gets into this lawsuit, right? So Tony Busby's the same one that represented the girls for Deshaun Watson. Right. So
do you think that will, because we still haven't heard a lot of names from the Epstein and Harvey Weinstein stuff. Do you think we'll hear some of those celebrity names with Diddy?
Well, I don't know. Well, we'll see with that. That'd be very interesting to see if they come out. My thing is, like, this lawyer seems hell bent on doing it. I don't think there was really anybody that's hell bent with Epstein to release it. And again, it seems like there's a lot of politicians on the list.
Yeah.
So, and the way he died, I guess, right now, with kind of, so I don't know if that list will ever see the day of light. It should, but I don't think it will. And I don't know, Diddy's might be the same thing just because of how many people are probably in that list. And that's probably why Diddy probably is somewhat secure. Like, hey, they're going to let me out or something's going to happen. Unless they kill him like Epstein, right? Well, allegedly.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll
find out what news releases when when the trial starts, whenever the lawyer starts dropping stuff.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure we'll probably talk about it more, or at least talk about the next leaks. I guess you say.
Yeah, run it back in the summertime during the trial.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I guess that was the last topic of the day, right? So, Nick,
fellas,
definitely appreciate you having on here, talking to us a little about entrepreneurship and going through some of these topics with us. So, I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Me. Yeah, this is a good time, man.
Yeah, shout out your podcast one more time.
Oh, shout out. Well, I don't know.
Common Ground, right?
Yeah, actually, shout out Joe.
Yeah.
Come support independent businesses.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, thank you guys for doing this. This is cool to catch up this way too.
Yeah. We definitely will have Nick on more as we go through as well. So I think we enjoyed it. It's gonna be fun having more stuff on it. So
that was
cool.
Fun.
All right, we out.
All right,
Peace.
Peace.